there any difference between this type of enterprise, or the calculation is the same across all the business entity?
Okay, that's a great question because normally um, we tend to think zakat calculation and tax calculation to be similar. Okay, tax calculation are based on the profit and loss. Okay, zakat calculation are based on balance sheet.
Right.
Okay, so how zakat will be calculated using the net current asset minus current asset less current liability. So the net portion, meaning when you have debtors
Right.
add on with cash
Right.
and some other fluid or liquid asset,
Right.
and then you deduct your creditors and some other loans that you have. So the net effect from there you calculate times 2.5%.
Okay. But that would be true. That would be true if you operate a business where you give credit or you receive credit. But if I'm just a goreng pisang seller who do not
Okay.
take credit, how would my
Well,
zakat
it's
calculation be different?
then in that kind of business for an enterprise, we'll see your current your income less your expenses, and then the net effect will be for enterprise. Usually they will have a revenue minus cost, and they don't have any asset. Okay, so we'll use their income less expenses as a base for calculation for that kind of business.
Because you were saying that it's a balance sheet kind of thing. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
think all these
Yeah.
enterprise stocks they keep balance sheet. So from the perspective of business who have balance sheet, right? What is the zakat rate for the business? Is it 2.5%, or is it a tier thing like income tax, or how is the rate calculated?
Well, it's 2.5%, calculated based on the asset. Those typically Sdn Bhd would have the balance sheet, so it will be also on their net asset.
Right. So is one thing that I need to clarify is that you calculate your zakat upon the expiry or upon the end of a certain period. Do you calculate based on the Gregorian calendar or on the Islamic calendar?
Well, it depends. It depends. Typically, we would follow the Gregorian calendar. So normally, following the financial year that they submit the accounts, and from there we will use the accounts once it's been audited or it's been finalized. We use that as a basis of our calculation.
So even though we have our Islamic calendar, but for now, because of legislation, we follow the Gregorian
it's
calendar.
easier because normally they prepare the accounts based on that calendar.
Right.
So we use the financial statement as a basis for us to calculate our zakat.
Alright. Okay. Just now you were saying that it's a balance sheet kind of calculation.
Yep.
Most businesses now, especially businesses that have been in business for a number of years, they tend to have excess liquidity. So sometimes they just put it in their current account, in a Mudharabah investment account, or sometimes they will buy shares, sometimes they will buy gold or silver. Is the calculation separately done, or is it you take a consolidated approach? How is it done separately, or
We will evaluate those investments separately, and then we look at the value of that investment. For example, if they invest in gold, and then following a certain calculation to see the value at the end of the period, and then that is being calculated 2.5%, and then we look at the business in totality as well. Yeah, so those are being looked individually, and then first the operation of the business, and then the investment, and then we calculate the zakat.
so this is basically applicable to businesses who only have um, one type of operations. Let's say I'm a multinational. I would have various subsidiaries in my company, in the division. So one division will be doing, for example, plantation. Another division will be doing property. Another division will be doing F&B. How would the zakat calculation be done? Is it at the subsidiary level, or at the holding level, or is it which?
For zakat purposes, we look at each business sector individually.
Right.
So because there are some peculiarity in terms of deduction that possibly that we need to look at. So we don't do zakat calculation based on consolidated basis. We look at it at individual business, individual sector, and from there we come up how much is the zakat payable. Using the same principle, we look at the balance sheet, and then from there we calculate with the deductions allowable.
Does it matter as to who the business owners are? Let's say it's be it a private or public listed company, they would have shareholders. So in certain cases there will be 100% Muslim shareholders. In certain cases there will be a split, maybe 50-50 or 40-60 or 70-30. How would you take into account the zakat payable for business, the percentage of business owned by Muslims and non-Muslims?
Okay. That's a great question. Zakat are only payable by the Muslim, and it's obligated to them. So typically when we calculate the zakat, we only take the Muslim portion. So let's say in a business where the shareholding of the Muslim partners are 70%, for example. So when we calculate the zakat after the 2.5%, then we times 70%.
I see. But let's say the business, the share ownership is 70% Muslim and 30% non-Muslim. But if the business decides to pay 100%, assuming the business is owned by Muslims, is it okay or is it?
Well, we in calculation wise we use that 70%.
Right.
Sometimes they do pay more,
Right.
so we take it as their zakat payment
I see.
for the whole business. Yes.
Okay, so what about in cases where, let's say since we're in Selangor, let's say the headquarters is in Selangor, but they have branches in KL, in Perak, in Negeri Sembilan, where would the zakat be paid? At the head office or at the separate branches across the nation?
This is where one of the things that happen. This is a reality that happen in business. Sometimes they pay according to the business sector. There are certain, for example, banks, they have operations throughout Malaysia. So the calculation is based on 2.5%, and then they look at the PNL of every state of the particular branch or division, and then they will distribute accordingly to the various states.
I see.
Mm.
How about back to the calculation of the business zakat?
Mm.
Is the calculation of the business zakat differs from state to state, or is it standardized across the board?
It's similar.
Right.
It's
So
similar.
if
Because there's I can't remember, there is they call it Garis Panduan Kepimpinan Zakat
Right.
by JAKIM. It been published in 2001.
right,
So that is being followed by mostly in general.
I see. So whether it's in Perak or in Kelantan, so the calculation would be similar.
I call it similar.
Right,
Maybe there are some peculiarity, however, it's quite similar in terms of calculation.
I see.
Zakat.
Would the treatment of I was asking this earlier, the treatment of the calculation would be differ from an enterprise or a private limited company or public listed company. What about if do you take into account the composition of the employees as well? Let's say the business is 100% owned by a non-Muslim, but the employees are 100% Muslim. Do you take that into account?
No, no. You see, employees
Right.
pay zakat based on their income. So
Right.
they have maybe monthly salary deduction to pay zakat. So is their personal obligation as an employee or as someone earning an income. So when it's say 100% business owned by non-Muslim, and then 100% employees are Muslim, they pay zakat on income, okay, based on that. And the business are not zakatable because it's 100% owned by non-Muslim.
Right. So normally, based on your experience, when do these businesses pay the zakat? At the end of the year, or in the middle, or whenever they feel like paying it?
Typically, those at the end of their accounting year,
Right.
once they've audited their accounts, that's when normally people will come and pay the
I
zakat.
see, not just in December or in
Uh,
June, right?
There are some who pay quarterly, there are some who pay half yearly, and most typically who pay when the financial year end. And why December there are a lot of people paying zakat? These are all enterprises or Sdn Bhd where they do their own calculation at the end,
I see.
and then they pay during the year. And sometimes all these are done so that they can impute in their calculation for tax purposes as well.
I see. How the zakat paid? I mean, do lembaga zakat sekarang go to the business, or the businesses come to you, or how is it done?
There are various ways they can pay. There are some who are online with us. They can pay directly. They can to our account. They can go to the bank and pay the zakat once they know the calculation. Most of the time, we do have our team ready to go to the office and do what we call taksiran, the calculation on what the amount zakat payable. So we go to the office and we do the calculation for
So
them.
this is upon the request of the
Yeah.
business, right? Okay.
Sometimes we do call in. There are about 4,000 companies paying zakat in Malaysia. Sorry, in Selangor. So some 70% do their own calculation and make the payment, and there are 30% where we do go and serve them in the sense that we do the calculation for them. And then the mode of payment, most are the one that we visit, they pay by check, and the rest they do come to our counter or they do online transaction.
So let's say in cases where lembaga zakat needs to go to the respective business premises, does lembaga zakat charge for this service, or what's the arrangement like?
It's for free. It's part of our obligation as AMIL
Right.
to support people to help businesses to pay zakat. Because you must remember, zakat is an obligation as written in the Quran, and we know as they pay zakat, they're cleansing the business, they're cleansing themselves, and it's part of spiritual healing as well. So this is where we want to assist as many people to ensure their business grow by paying by paying zakat. So we go to the office and there are no payment.
I see. So if I have a business and I say, Tuan Haji, I need your assistance to help me calculate my zakat payment, or even to collect zakat, be it at the individual level or business level, you can always come to my office and collect zakat whenever or wherever.
Sure, because one of the eight asnaf is AMIL.
Right.
It's our responsibility to ensure people are being supported or assisted in paying zakat, and also to support people in terms of distribution of zakat. So it's part of our responsibility to do as what you said now.
I see. So in cases where the business is run as a business enterprise, you're doing trading, manufacturing, the calculation is straightforward. How about if a person or an enterprise or business operates, what other different calculation is done if a person maybe runs a plantation business or farming business, which is different from the normal business operations that you can think of?
The challenge in zakat calculation is about determining the asset, current asset and the current liability. So this is where
So you do not take into account fixed asset?
no, fixed assets are not included in zakat calculation. Those are considered being used for business purposes, so
Right.
those are not included.
So basically, if I do not want my liquidity to be tied up in current asset, just buy a fixed asset and I do not have to pay zakat. Am I right?
It depends. Sometimes you need liquid asset to flow to run your operation.
Right.
So if you tied up everything at fixed asset, so your running cash flow, your running the operation will be a challenge.
I see.
So that's how we measure the zakat.
I see. So
One of the questions that people ask is that, what about we are a loss-making company and we have a healthy balance sheet?
right.
Do we have to pay zakat? The answer is yes.
So even though, because normally the case is your loss is because of the depreciation.
It
Right.
depends. It depends. Even say there's a loss because of circumstances,
Right.
because of whatever the economic condition for that particular business, they run at a loss. Yeah, but then the balance sheet is healthy by virtue of current asset less current liability. So in that sense, they are zakatable.
So basically, even though the company issues bonds, the bonds would not be applicable for zakat.
Bonds.
Bonds, is there a difference between Islamic bond or the conventional bond? or-
Usually, for conventional bonds,
Right.
if the value goes up,
Right.
the zakat is only on the principal. If for Islamic bonds, the zakat is on the principal and the dividend or the yield earned.
I see.
So it's
On
both.
a periodical basis.
So
I see.
they have to choose which we call it how the 12-month cycle that they choose. So that particular date, it has to be constantly using that particular date for the calculation.
Right, Pak Haji. We shall take a commercial break. we shall discuss on the issues or stumbling blocks hindering or advancing zakat payment in Malaysia. Stay tuned to Islamic Finance at the Capital. Welcome back to Islamic Finance at the Capital. Tuan Haji Izam, when we talk about zakat payment, companies, being the vultures that they are, will always think about tax breaks. What are the tax breaks available if a company is to pay zakat?
Well, for companies, they only have tax allowable up to 2.5% or the zakat portion that they pay. So that's the maximum that they get. So the confusion or the thinking between the companies are typically, when you do CSR, the tax break is about 10%. When you do zakat, it's only 2.5%. But come from an obligation where, when you pay zakat, it's barakah, and it's an obligation, it's one of the 5 pillars of Islam. So from that angle, your business will get more value out of it.
So basically, you must have come across of companies wanting to do CSR to have a higher tax break rather than pay zakat.
Sure, because sometimes when people do a CSR,